Hey, what is going on, guys? Thanks for checking out this video of my sports, Gematria. In this video, I'm going to talk about Mark Eaton and his current passing. I'll try and be respectful as best as I can, but I am going to talk about just mathematical numbers and coincidences that align with um, his passing, the Utah Jazz, and the current NBA season, and the chances of those numbers pointing towards maybe a Utah Jazz NBA Finals. I know a lot of people who do this type of work right now had just got triggered by me once again, only because the Jazz are in the West, which is where the Lakers are, and there's so much going for the Lakers. So Mark Eaton passed away at the age of 64 today. Today is when the Jazz play the Grizzlies in Memphis. And Mark Eaton, even though the news broke today, he actually passed away yesterday, May 28th. Even though the news broke today, which is the 29th. He was the man who was 7 foot 4. I think that was his handle. Mark Eaton, 7 foot 4. 7 foot 4 sums to 64. The man who is 7 foot 4 dies at the age of 64. I made a write up about it on my Patreon, and this is kind of what I wrote. This is just all the numbers that I could just think of and put together. So Mark Eaton dead at 64. Jazz to get dot dot dot. Today, the Utah Jazz can get their 64th all-time head-to-head win against Grizzlies. The day after 64-year-old Mark Eaton passed away after a bicycle crash. Maybe. I say maybe because the game hasn't happened yet, and even though I picked the Jazz to win, I can just as easily still be wrong. And then you can read my alternative narrative for Grizzlies side in my daily sports pick posts. And so those of you who aren't on my Patreon, when I post my picks, I do a narrative for both sides. I show the side that I'm picking, and then I also show what I would call the alternative side or the other side of a team. That way, it gives you guys the opportunity to see both sides, see where I'm at on either side, and then you can just make up your own judgment on whether you want to ride the same side or go with the other side. At the very least, you're seeing both sides for you to make up um, your own pick if you wanted to, and so that's why I put that. But he died yesterday, according to Google. Correct me if I'm wrong. I searched it May 28th. Showed you guys. Shows May 28th. But the news broke today. So I did the Gematria for Mark Eaton. 98, 35, 145, 55. Today is the 98th all-time head-to-head matchup between the Grizzlies and the Jazz. And Jazz can get their 64th all-time head-to-head win against Grizzlies in relation to 64-year-old Mark Eaton. Or Grizzlies can get their 35th all-time head-to-head win against Jazz in relation to Mark Eaton, which sums to 35. To go further, the day of this game is played on the 149th day of the Gregorian year, the 35th prime number, and Grizzlies could sit on 35 losses for the season as they pick up their 35th all-time head-to-head win, or Jazz can simply sit on 149 all-time postseason losses with the win today as they get their 64th all-time head-to-head win. So as you can see, the death of Mark Eaton in relation to the Jazz and the Grizzlies game 3, lined up pretty well, coincidentally, and it favors either side, Grizzlies or the Jazz. It's interesting how those numbers come about. In relation to this currently being the 75th NBA season, the words 75 sum to 145 and 55 just like the words Mark Eaton, summed to 145 and 55. If you saw my YouTube video titled, Can You Guess the 2020 NBA Finals Winner? I did that video right here. I did that before the play-in tournaments started. I mentioned based on numbers pulled for that video, specifically for the West, Lakers were my dark horse, but I like the Suns and the Jazz numbers more. And I bring that up to say this. In the video, I showed that if Jazz finished the season with 52 wins, which they did, and you add in 16 playoff wins, assuming they go all the way and win the finals, it puts them at a total of 68 wins for the entire season plus postseason. The words 68 sums to 52, which they finished with 52 wins, and 124. And Mark Eaton's birthday is on January 24th, written 1/24, which just so happened to have been a distance of 124 days since his death. So from January 24th to the day of his death, which is May 28th, it was 124 days, or a total span of 125 days. 75 sums to 152, which is just an anagram of 125. So we're starting to see all kinds of connections to Jazz, the NBA season, potential of them winning it all, maybe with some numbers. You know, take it for a grain of salt, but there's connections here. Mark Eaton, he wore the number 53, and 75 also sums to 53, which is basically just a reflection of 35, and Mark Eaton sums to 35. Now, as to why he may have died on May 28th, why the news is breaking the next day, well, we can look to the NBA game that's playing the next day, which is today, the Jazz versus Grizzlies. That's one reason. And another reason we can look to is the Hebrew calendar. May 28th was the 17th day of the 9th month on the Hebrew civil, written 17/9, or 179, the 41st prime number. 41 sums to 98 and 35, just like Mark Eaton sums to 98 and 35. The number 41 sums to 46 as well, which is just a reflection of 64, his age of his death. To go a little bit further, the number 18 also shares the same relation of 46, 30, and 35, but it also sums to 143. And the word jazz sums to 18, 45, as well as 18 twice. And the Jazz can earn their 143rd all-time postseason win if they were to win it all, the NBA Finals. 18, 143, 46, 35. Jazz 18, 45, 18. And they would do it with the star player who wears the number 45. And his name just happens to be Donovan Mitchell, which sums to 68. A number we talked about up here. Jazz can win it all with 68 wins for the overall season, as they potentially pick up their 143rd postseason win as a team. Donovan Mitchell, 68. 68 sums to 52, 124. Mark Eaton's birthday, 124. 124 days after his birthday was his death. So does this mean I am once again now trying to troll Lakers fans like I did with the Suns? I want to say no, but it kind of feels like I am a little bit. I'm being honest here. I just like looking at numbers. I'm not dead set on anything. You can't convince me 100% on one set thing. I just like looking at a bunch of different options. I like keeping my options open. But no, not intentionally trying to troll you guys. This is just a write-up of Mark Eaton's death, along with anything and everything that I already knew I can connect it with, given the work I've already done on the topic. Which brings me to the topic I have to put trigger warning on this video in the title, most likely, anytime I talk about the West. Anyway, Hopefully you guys enjoy this video or this information if this is what you were looking for. Thanks for watching.